Welcome to Wednesday's Q&A. I want to thank you all for taking the time to listen tonight, to take what you need, leave the rest behind. As every Wednesday, the Q&A will be here on purpose to teach you about the product and to teach you why it's so important for you to understand why we begin and end with these three products. And so I'm going to begin first, before I introduce each one of the three products to you, I'm going to help you understand the basis of why. Why do we need sleep? Why do we need immunity to be boosted high? Why do we need brain food? Why do we need neurological support? These are the things that you're going to understand in this call tonight. And we're going to start off with letting you know that we are our nervous system. And the easiest thing for you to understand is if you take a look at a sperm under a microscope, it is actually the exact same beginnings of the brain and the nervous system. And that is actually when that sperm penetrates the egg, guess what happens? That's where it begins from. And we are our nervous system. And if we do not have proper nutrients, if we do not have proper sleep mode to be able to continually get in and rejuvenate ourselves, to revive ourselves, to reset ourselves, we start to have breakdown. And a little bit of facts for you to know. Did you know that if you as a human decided to not sleep, the first things that start to happen is after 72 hours of no sleep, you begin to have very thick saliva. And did you know that your body could go into a place of metamorphosis just like a butterfly? So when we do not have enough sleep, most people, and that's why many people can actually get impaired as well, because when your sleep mode hasn't happened, your circadian methods do not reset, and you do not have neural activity reset. You do not have response of the brain gut connection. You start to have breakdown, and that's where people start to have many illusions. And from that point down, you start to watch deterioration happen heavily. And it's no different than not getting enough oxygen to the brain of where this starts to happen. In our nervous system, we have a plethora of neural networks that are that neural conductivity, and we call them dendrites. These dendrites are the neuroreceptors that are talking back and forth to each other. Why is this so important? If we do not have a nutrient-dense environment, if we do not have proper hydration, and specifically if we do not have our trace minerals, then we do not have conductivity that happens. Many of you in other of my Q&A calls, as you know, have found out that I have talked to you very much about why organic sea salt is so important, why all of your mineral spectrums, your trace minerals are so important, because we are electromagnetic beings and salt is a crystal, and you have a crystal inside of every cell within your body. And if we do not have enough of those minerals, we have breakdown because we don't have superconductivity that happens. And so this is one of the biggest bases of why my whys of why, as a whole life practitioner, I embed in everybody why sea salt and why amino acid spectrums. And with our full amino acid spectrums as well, which are peptides, which are proteins, this is how we have continual renewal. Did you know in order for a cell to properly rebirth itself, it needs an animal fat and it needs what? It needs its amino acids. It needs its animal protein. And there are many plant-based proteins and peptides that are out there, but the best comes from actual animal. And with those peptides, those beautiful proteins, those beautiful minerals, we have proper conductivity of that electromagnetic field. From there, it knows to talk to absolutely every part of the body so it knows what to do. So, what happens when we have a nutrient dense environment? What happens when we have full activation happen so that we have high immunity, we have proper conductivity, we have a nutrient dense environment, we are getting our sleep. And I'm not talking knocked out cold for 8 hours sleep. I am talking our proper REM and movement of our brainwave levels. And you're going to be learning this in the coming weeks of why we have many, many different layers within our brainwaves and what they do for us. And this is why this is super important of why this is so important of understanding TREO. When we do not properly reset, no different, and I'll use for an example, when you watch a baby who did not get to reset at the right time, what starts to happen? You start to see hyper activity happen, or you see people who have been oversensitized, and you watch instantly how their nervous system is going to react because it's going to start to put you into reaction mode instead of responding mode. What happens to each and every one of you? What has been happening this whole last 20 years, especially? Why has it been that every one of you have to now have more than one job each? Is because you are continually oversensitized. They are continually inundating you with what we call survival mode. And that is you, no different than if you were in caveman days and you were walking in the forest. Your brain, 1/10 of a second before something happens, already knows it's going to happen. And all of a sudden, the hairs come up onto your body, and your heart goes into your throat. You know something's about to happen because danger is real, fear is not. And what happens is your adrenals supercharge themselves so that you can go to fight, flight, or freeze. Saber-toothed tiger comes out of the bush at you, you either fight it to the death, or you run like hell, or you freeze and you're their food. But either way, you would go to sleep. You would have gone to sleep for your body to reset and recover. What happens from there, the nervous system goes to the place of calm, the adrenals, and every system in your body goes to a place of calm again so that it can reset, restore, and go from there. Without that, you have continual hypersensitivity happening. You have total survival mode going on to the point that sleep disruption happens. Then we have breakdown of all the glands starting to shut down because every gland has a beautiful hormone that releases from those glands. And then we start to live through our organs. And that's why we then have organ failures and shutdowns happen because we're supposed to live through our glands, through the cellular activation. And when we get hijacked, that's where we start to have a deficiency. And all dis-ease happens from a deficient environment, and it starts in your nervous system. That is why the biggest thing that you will hear from all of us good, real practitioners is the first question they ask you is, what is happening in your life? What levels of stress do you have? Because this will be the very beginning breakdown of what's going on. And so when you understand why the nervous system is so important, and if it cannot reset, what's then going to happen? Then all these things are happening. Well, what is beautiful is out there in this beautiful 2025, we have scientists from all over walks of life of Earth that have figured out how to stimulate certain centers in your body. But what happens if we have a set of TREO products that not only can get the body back into its nervous system reset into calm so that the body then can start talking to itself and do what it knows to do. You know that your body is a miracle. You know that when we allow it to be the miracle, then that's when it happens. And this all begins and ends in your sleep. Did you know there's a reason why people who do midnight shifts, or we call them graveyard shifts, do you know why they're called graveyard shifts? Because it literally takes 11 years off your life because your circadian methods do not reset properly. When you don't have proper reset, especially around certain times, then you start to have more nervous disruption. Our bodies are magically synchronized. And when we stop this from happening, then we start to try to adapt in a different way. And we have done that over the course of years, because if we were to have someone in the human expression come in now in 2025, they would probably end up in a mental asylum because they could not handle the levels of stresses that you have naturally been trying to adapt to and be able to survive through. And this is one thing that I will highly stress all the time, that the one thing that I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt is that we are resilient. And our bodies, when it can be in a place of the miracle place, in that place of reset, it knows exactly what to do. There's tons of research that has proven that by injecting certain parasites into the gut biome that are cancer causing, that a place of high immunity, of non-deficiency, meaning nutrient dense, that it can eat that parasite or anything that is that disease starting area. But what happens if you do not have a high immunity and that same parasite is injected into your gut biome? Did you know that most people will succumb to that disease? And there's a falsity out there that tells you that autoimmune dysfunction is actually the body attacking itself. And that is what they try to tell you in the medical system, but it's not the truth. The body will never attack itself. But what happens when you don't have that nutrient denseness? What happens when you don't have proper reset? They have more than 60,000 studies in sleep and all different forms of what sleep can do for you for restoration. And this is why it's exciting that as we start to talk about these products tonight, you'll realize why these were beautifully labeled by what they are, because it's exactly what they do. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen so that you guys can understand what these products are about. So I'm going to begin at the very beginning of our beautiful Deravita. And Deravita is an Italian name that was given to us, the people at Deravita. And it's amazing what happens when you have friendships. It's amazing what happens when you have people who literally are wonderful people that you have. What have you done? You have created a relationship with. You have created some form of acceptance for yourself. So why is it not going on to here? Sorry. Give me one moment, you guys. I just need to get this going because I ended up. Here we go. Here we go. Let's begin again. So here we are here at Deravita. And this is talking about who we as ambassadors are doing to represent this beautiful company that has come together to reignite, reimagine, and redefine. We want to welcome you to the world of Deravita and all of us here on the journey together to discover, to connect, to grow, and to transform. To revitalize, our products breathe new energy into your daily routine. We renew. Our platform offers individuals a way to explore potential income, like many of us here that have decided to become ambassadors here. To inspire, our community celebrates each step towards positive change. Our brand promise is to give new life to any and all who are open to Deravita. So here, what I want you to understand is these beautiful products. These three products are what we call TREO. Now, Restore is the evening drink that you take. So depending when you get your product in the mail is when you're going to start or on your product. So if it's the afternoon and you've got your product and you're going to come home, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to drink Restore. Restore is the Sleep Deep Restore is the first one, and it's a nighttime drink. And what I'm going to say to you is you're going to want to make sure that you have your hot water drink ready, you have it by your bedside, and you're going to drink this drink. And it's going to be mixed into 250 mils of hot water. And you're going to stir it up. You're going to let it sit and steep just like you would tea or hot chocolate. And you're going to sit in your bed. You're going to drink your beautiful drink. And within what we're hearing from some of us, 10 minutes to 20 minutes is where you're going to start to feel this beautiful natural wall of sleepiness start to happen for you. And this product will put you into the proper waves to get you into a deeper state, which we call REM, REM, and it's rapid eye movement. And what that is the theta state or deeper, where we start to go into miracle mode. And this is where the body knows how to restore, to repair, to rejuvenate, to realign, to reconnect all the things that are happening within all the systems in your body. And the only way this happens is in a place of calm, because then every system, every organ, every gland, every tissue, every fiber, every tendon, every bone, every ligament, every neuron will go back into a homeostasis place. And this is why this is the number one key to 100% whole health. Now, from there, you're going to wake up in the morning, and this is where you're going to see a product, and it's a morning drink, and it's called Wake Sharp. And this is on purpose meant so that you can have fantastic, fantastic brain food and cognitive expression. And this is what Wake Sharp is all about. It's about taking all that you had in the night of that RAM that you have started to recover in, and you're going to have at least 3 or 4 cycles within the night that are good for about 12 hours each. And so when you have more than that, then it starts to stock hold for you. And this is why it's going to be very important that for every 10 years that you have been breathing on this earth, that you give yourself 30 days to allow the activation process to work so that your body can start going back into the state of calm for homeostasis to start playing through, so that our circadian methods start working properly, so that our brain activity starts to move in proper brainwave activity. And so this is going to be like this amazing place, and anyone that has any kind of mental disruption that's going on is going to find such great response to this. Talking mental clarity, cognitive remembering of being able to be in a room and remember what I'm supposed to be doing in the room, of people that have the left and right brain that aren't being able to talk properly. This is neuroconductivity, and this is what this is going to help with because of what's happening in those restore times. Then, after you've had this drink and you're on your way and you're doing your thing, then midday, you're going to see this beautiful product, which is Rejuvenate. And Rejuvenate is high immunity boosting. And what's also in this high immunity boosting, when you're going to be learning about all the ingredient downloads on all of these, is a product that is also for brain food. And this immunity booster seriously not only helps get rid of heavy metal stripping that's going on, but it helps to really reformulate what's supposed to be going on in our gut biome, in our nervous system during the day while we're in there. And so this is what this is all about, and why it's so exciting about these three that is going on. And so what happens the moment that we have, so what happens the moment that you have all three in your products? What happens if you forget a day? What happens if you can only afford one of them for now? So it depends on each one of you of who you are, what's going on in your life, and you are going to definitely respond. But the first thing I'd be saying to you, number one, is that you're going to want to make sure that you're doing restore. That nighttime drink is a game changer. And each and every one of you are going to be realizing as you have your journal that you're going to be doing day one, night. I took my nighttime drink at this time and I started feeling this at about 10 minutes, which was what happened with me. And again, you're going to be learning about the male brain and the female brain. And there are only two genders here, that because I will always only stress what is real, true, and right. And the male brain is going to react completely different than the female brain. And so, like I said, there's going to be, if you have your other half and you both took your drink together, and the female is going to be looking at the male saying, why is he sleeping so quick? How can he drop so quick? And not only can he drop quick, but he can wake up just as quick. But what happens here is because most men, 70% of their brain shuts off at night when they're sleeping. Whereas women that have taken on a mom role will activate the mom gene. And that mom gene from that point on will only allow you to drop 10% of your brain wave activity at night. And it's because you're in the place of knowing that you are there to protect that baby, that child, that nurturing part of you. And that's why that part of it happens. Each and every one of you that has different hormone disruption, each and every one of you that has levels of stress, especially if you've had any form of concussions, any kind of brain injuries, any forms of injuries, traumas whatsoever, are all going to respond differently to this. And it's going to take each person different amount of times of what they're going to notice. But 100%, everyone is going to experience something. 100%. And I say that without a shadow of a doubt. And why is this so important? Because in our reset mode, in that space where we are in those depths of theta and deeper, now we have recovery. And recovery is the basis of your body responding. When we have these three products that continually are keeping each of them synchronistically moving together, then we don't have a drop. Instead of waiting till we go into the sleep mode at night, we have the morning drink and we have the midday that is taking everything that you started to build upon at night, and it's going to keep enhancing it deeper and deeper. We're talking about being able to create everything that your cells in your body know to do. And when we talk about cellular activation, when we talk about the major pathways turning on, that only when those major pathways turn on do they signal the glands to come back on. And in Restore, the reason we know that these products work is because in order to create HGH or growth hormone, that means the pituitary gland had to be activated to turn on. And that is your number one. That's the number one that you have that turns on first. We have 7 major glands in the body and then many others after that. And when we have the first one turn on, which is the pituitary, which is your third eye, by the way, for any of you who are spiritual, this is a big deal because we're telling you this isn't just a physical restoration that's going to happen for you. When we activate our body the way we do, when we activate on a cellular level by activating and turning back on our nervous system, we now have the fascia of our body turned on, which is your subconscious part of your body. We have a conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. And this is the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual embodiments of who you are. This is why this is such a big deal, because you're not going to just have effects physically. You are mentally going to have ridiculous, awesome effects, and emotionally, the emotional stability that happens only when your nervous system turns back on and goes into calm mode is where you are now in the respond mode instead of react mode. This is where you allow the neural network to slow down enough, which are in these products that you'll be learning about in all the ingredient lists. But it slows the process down so that the body, mind, emotional state can absolutely in real time go to the decision making or solution mind. And this is what we do in hypnotherapy. This is what I do all the time, is I get you to a state where the body can start reprogramming what you needed done so that it takes you back to the place of whole instead of broken or believing it's broken. And so I hope that this is going to help you understand and want to know more about why that you want to be on this TREO and to get a hold of the person that has invited you to this to understand more about how you can sign up as a customer and go forward even more when you realize that you love this so much and you can't help but share it to the rest of the world, that you'll want to be an ambassador. What I also want you to understand in this is knowing that 100% of your health needs to be focused on, because you are continually being hijacked by air, water, food, the clothing, and the thoughts and feelings that you are thinking. And so this has everything to do about whole health. And when we have a TREO product that is so encompassed in everything that you need, you literally do not need anything else outside of this, because of what it's going to do to help you in the fact of anti-inflammatory, to have analgesic for pain recovery. Um, Inflammation is the very beginning of your body breaking down. It will always tell you something's wrong by inflammation or mucus or phlegm. Then from there is where you'll see the rest happening. And so to know that we can get our nervous system back to Q, to where it is, by just having to take something to have a beautiful sleep, taking something during the morning to have our happy, amazing day, and that midday pill is going to be super important for many of you that have had issues with immunity in your own. And most of you, if you get a cold, if you get the flu, if you have gut issues, if you have pain, if you have any forms of headaches, if you have hormone disruption, if you have any of these things, if you are not sleeping normal, this is because your nervous system is overloaded. And this is why TREO is why I will 100% back it and tell you why. So if you want to learn more, reach out to me, absolutely. And so I want to thank you